Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. It's me, your girl, none other than Mel V, the MV Pen. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Hustle and Shine podcast. Today, we have a super exciting special episode with our Queen Pen, Natima Sheree, discussing the release of her new book, S.A.V.A.G.E Healing Journal. So I'm going to bring her out in a second, but first, I want to take a minute and acknowledge and send our condolences and our love and our prayers out to the family of Twitch who passed away this morning. So I want us all to keep his family and his fans and his friends and everyone in our prayers and encourage y'all. Check on your friends, check on your family. Like, not every time what you see on the outside is an accurate depiction of what's going on the inside. And so make sure you're checking on your friends and checking on your family and check on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like you're going through too much and life is kind of bearing you down, don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are people out there that love you and that care about you and that need you around. So with that, let's keep his family in our prayers, and much love to you, Twitch. You will be remembered. So on to our show tonight. So I got on my camouflage today because we about to go to war. We're going to battle, so I came prepared to fight. So let me bring out my boo thing. I love her, like, from the stars to the moons to the universe to the Milky Way to all them places. None other than our Queen Pen here at the Diamond Riders, Miss Natima Sheree. Hey, darling.
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
I am
Happy
great. How are you?
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. How are
Yeah.
you?
You know what? I'm feeling good today. Of course, saddened by the news. That Twitch has passed, and as a result of suicide of all things, it's devastating because smiling depression is so real. I suffered from it for a long time. I know others who suffer from it, right? And who have suffered from it. And so I so agree with your sentiment. Like, let's check on each other, especially our strong friends, our family members, and of course, like you said, ourselves. Look in that mirror and know that you matter. So, but other than that, it's been a really rewarding week so far since the
I
release,
wonder why.
right? I mean, I expected some support, right? I did expect some support. People were anticipating the release. They were asking, when is it coming out? When can I get my hands on it? I did not expect the numbers that.
Well, I'm waiting for mine because the post office played with my life. So I'm gonna get it together and send me my book, my journal. I'm ready.
Oh man, that sucks. Well, I hope it comes soon. But yeah, like, overwhelming sales, overwhelming support, the shares,
I
the
mean,
reels, people reaching out. It's crazy.
that
Yeah.
just goes to show, like, you doing it, sis.
Thank
You are
you. I'm
doing
so
it,
grateful.
and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. When it floods and the floodgates open and people are drawn to it, that's how
Yeah.
you know you are doing what you are supposed to be doing. So I, for one, am like super proud of you. You be making me feel like I'm behind the curve. Like, Mel, what you doing? Like, get you playing in these streets. I gotta get my writing up.
Stop playing
But
with your gifts.
listen, oh, listen, not even to be playing no shade, but it's just so
Yeah.
many. I'd be like, I can't do all of them at the same time.
Ma'am,
They
listen,
say, to whom much is given, much is
you gonna
required.
find a
And I'm like,
medium.
Lord, you gave a lot, and now you require a whole lot, but you got to give me a second.
Like,
I
right,
can get to it.
pacing. Right. Give
I
me
gotta
give
get
me some
there.
steps.
Yeah.
Exactly. Give me some steps.
So, I mean, for those of you, I mean, if you don't know who Natima Sheree is, our Queen Pen, then I mean, I need you to come from under whatever rock you've been under for the last how many years, and like come back to like 2022. But
Right.
for those of you that don't know, I mean, let them know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you. So again, yes, I am Natima Sheree, affectionately known as the book enthusiast and turned Queen Pen after starting Transparent Gem Inc. in 2017 and following up with the Diamond Writers writing community in 2020. I have helped more than 2 dozen independent writers publish their independent projects. I have contributed and compiled to more than 4 anthologies, and finally worked on an independent project of my own, which we are going to discuss and celebrate today. I'm a mother of 2 amazing girls, and a lover of literature. I work in HR, diversity, equity, and inclusion for a software company. That is my profession. But writing and storytelling and helping women to heal through storytelling is my passion. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Born
That's
and
it.
bred in Jamaica, Queens,
And
New
I'm,
York. Okay.
I'm like,
Put it out there. New
if you don't
York,
know,
girl, born and bred, and now living in Atlanta. So that's just a little.
ATL Shawty.
Yes, a girl. Not for
So
long because
listen,
this traffic about to send me back up north. I can't take this traffic.
listen, we're not gonna
Mm.
get on that.
Mm.
But so yeah, I mean, as y'all see, my sis resume is long. It's long, long. Okay, it's long, long.
Thank you.
So we're here today for your new release, Savage Healing Journal. So tell us a little bit about if you, available now. So if you haven't already ordered your copy, soon as don't tune off from the show, watch the show. But as soon as the show is over,
Yeah.
you can head over to her website,
Yes.
natimasheree.com, or to the Diamond Rider website, diamondriders.com, and place your order like today. Like
Mhm.
right as soon as we click good night and say end, like right now. Okay. So
Right.
tell us a little bit about what the journal is. Like tell us about what this is.
Yes, thank you. So it was hard to really describe what this is. It's something unique. It's something that I've never seen before. Where it is a blend or a really nice harmony between stories and journaling, right? So the book is a lot to read, right? I've enclosed a lot of stories from my own personal journey in the book, but then I've also provided lots of space for others going through the same situation to journal and release. I was intentional to do it that way because I wanted my stories to prompt thought and reflection. And I didn't want to just put out a journal with a bunch of journal prompts or a bunch of lines and space to write, because sometimes when we're hurting, we don't know where to start. We don't know what's hurting, where the bleeding is happening, what we want to express, what we want to say. But reading someone else's experience will help us to recollect and reflect on our own. And so I was really intentional to start every single journal section with a story. Um, so the Savage Healing Journal is my story of my Savage Healing journey. It is one that followed a very traumatic breakup about 8 months ago. The book is in no way about the relationship. It is not about the relationship. I want to make that clear because I don't want anyone disappointed who purchased the book
Right, let
thinking,
me get the tea.
right, where's the tea? No, it is not about that. It's about the journey that the breakup prompted and what changes were birthed in me as a result of really seeing myself after that relationship ended. I do share a little bit of backstory about the relationship to just provide context so that the journey makes sense, right?
Mhm.
So, SAVAGE is an acronym. It stands for self reflection and shadow work, acceptance, vibrate higher, adjustment, gratitude, and enjoy life. And the reason I chose those healing milestones to create this word savage, because I feel like something was awoken in me. Something like prompted me to really look at life and myself in a whole different way. Like, yo, you're a beast. You know what I'm saying? And not just because Black women are always told, you're strong, you can handle it, you can get through it, you can carry that. That's not too much. You got this. But in the fact that there are so many components of who I am as a woman, as a feminine, as a person, as a mother, as a friend, like, I don't know if y'all grew up watching Transformers or grew up watching, not Transformers, Voltron, where it created like all these different parts created this monster of a
Mhm.
superhero. And that's how I feel. I feel like the strengths of my, my ability to mother my girls, the strength in my ability to lead the Diamond Riders, the strength in my ability to bring change and add value in corporate America, my strength as a speaker. All of these components of me were redefined after this breakup. And so I literally felt like a Voltron. And so instead of calling myself Voltron, I call myself a savage. So
Savage.
what that journal means.
Awesome.
It might go over some people's head, because we old school, so
Love
they
it.
might be, what the hell is a Voltron?
It's like, yeah, I can't explain it.
We
I
don't
was
know.
gonna try, but I was like, sorry, we can't. Google it, look it up.
Right, Google that. We got you.
But that's so amazing, that you took to taking, something so traumatic, and so, emotional, and using it to create, and doing something to help inspire others. So what was it that made you want to create the journal? Like, some people, when they go through this stuff, they're like, I'm gonna just go through this, and then you pick up and you move, and it's not necessarily you use to share. So what made you want to take this experience and create this journal?
Oh man, now that's such a good question. Like, so first I want to say I didn't intend to create this journal. This
Okay.
this is this is the unique part, and this is free for somebody who may be wondering what God desires of you, what God is calling you to do. Sometimes life circumstances and things around you will get upset for you to make a move. There are things that I know God was telling me to do, and God was, giving me signs and having people speak into my life, and I wouldn't make a move. I was just comfortable. I was comfortable compiling anthologies and just contributing one chapter, even though I've heard multiple times you need to be publishing your own books and stories. You need to be doing your own storytelling. People need to hear what you've been through, what you've overcome. And so I was like, I'll get to it. Let me do a couple of more anthologies with the diamonds, and then eventually I'll write my own story. And so I think this was an opportunity, for me to really force myself to grow out of a comfort zone. A friend of mine was asking, she was like, hey, I noticed, things that you're posting. I noticed that you're changing. I would love to know what you're doing to get over your heartbreak, because she had recently gotten divorced. So I wrote her an email and just kind of outlined this savage journey. And by the time I finished the email, I was like, this is a lot of content. I have a lot here.
My
I can
friend.
do something with this. I was
Right.
like, you know what? I could actually do something with this. And so that's exactly what I did. I sat down one day, I prayed about it first, and I began to write. And one of the most significant things, a part of the writing process, was watching myself grow from the rough draft to the final draft. Because the original draft of this, the rough draft, was rough. I was mean. I was blaming. There was a lot of criticizing, both me, him, and the relate. It was just not what this final project is. And so I remember rereading it, and God was like, that is not the manuscript. That's the journal. Like, that's literally your journal. Don't publish that. So I wrote my second rough draft, and there was still a lot of pain in it. It was still a lot of bitterness in it. It was still a lot of hurt in it. And there was a lot of tears on the pages. And God was like, this is not it either, but you're getting there. You're getting it out. And by the time I reached the final draft, it was the most sincere, transparent, naked version of me, without the pain, without the bitterness, and without the anger. It was just true vulnerability and gratefulness and acceptance for where I was. And that's when I was like, it's time to publish this. And the reason I wanted to share that is because I don't want people to feel like when you journal, you have to always say the right things. Be honest with yourself. If you're mad, say you're mad. If you're pissed, say you're pissed. If you're hurt, say what you're feeling, because that stuff has to come out. Dump on those pages and not on people. And so that's what I was able to do. And I found strength in my story. I found self love and acceptance in my story. I found my own worth. I was like, yo, reading this, like, you really are healing. You really are growing and maturing, and you should celebrate that. And so that's what this book does. It's my celebration of myself, and hopefully helping other women to learn to celebrate themselves. So, yeah.
Well, applause to you.
Cheers.
Listen, listen. I had a front row seat,
Yeah.
so I know. So
Yes,
here,
you were there from day one. So you remember the stages of, anger and grief. And heartbreak really is, it really is bereavement. It really is grief.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? You really do go through a lot of those same emotions and feelings, but
Mhm.
we never really give ourselves the room to do it. And I gave myself the room and the pages to do it. And I'm just so proud. And I'll share this. I know it wasn't one of your questions, but I just feel really led to share why it's important for women to not only invest in their growth, but celebrate yourself as you see yourself growing. One of my beta readers was giving me her feedback on the journal, and she said, she probably gonna watch this and be like, "You had to put me out there though." I'm not gonna say her name, but she's reading the journal and we're talking about her feedback, and she's like, Tima, I like it, but I feel like you're protecting him in this journal. I feel like you're not stating the things that he did wrong in the relationship that led to the breakup and things like that. And so I was quiet and she was like, "Did that offend you?" I said, "No, I'm smiling because that's a moment of growth for me." There was no reason to tell his side of the story because this journey is about me. This journey is
Mhm.
about what hurt me, what broke me, what part I played in that, and how I've been intentional in healing and letting it go. So I
Yeah.
said, "You've actually given me exactly what I needed to confirm that everything I set out to do in this book has been accomplished, and it is well. I am so pleased." I was like, "This is the best feedback that
Mhm.
I've gotten across the board." I needed to hear that
Yeah.
because I didn't want, any negativity or bashing or, what I'm saying, anything rude
Mhm.
coming from this. I wanted it to be a pure account of how I healed, intentionally
Yeah.
healed. So yeah, that was it for me. I was like, I'm putting this out. It's time to put it out
Right.
because that's what I wanted. Yeah.
And that's super dope because so often when we're dealing with the heartbreak and we're in that pain, we do get stuck on what the other person did. And we get stuck there because it's so much easier to be like, well, they did, and this is what they did, and this is your fault, and you're why I'm hurt, and you're why I'm broke. And it's like, but where does that get you? Do you know what I mean? Where does that get you? At some point, you have to be like, you know what? What was I supposed to learn? And what do I take from this? And what's my part? Because that's only when you move forward. You'll be stuck in that, and that goes for relationships across the board, like
Mhm.
romantic relationships, friendships,
Mhm.
parental relationships. You know, it's funny you should say that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about people that do why do people do certain things, and they were like, well, sometimes it's because of how they were raised or their upbringing or whatever or where they grew up. And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, but how long do we let that be the excuse?
Right.
Like how
Right.
long how long do you get to be like, well, my mama did this or my daddy did this or I grew up in a impoverished neighborhood? How
Mhm.
long does that get to be your excuse? Like, do you
Mhm.
at 45, do you still get to blame what happened to you at 6 for what does that
Right.
get to be your excuse behavior? But
Right.
so often it's so much easier for us to
Mhm.
focus on what other people did or what other people have done or why other people's actions have caused us to be a certain way
Mhm.
instead of looking in the mirror and being like, okay, yeah, this person did all of this.
Mhm.
Not taking anything, it happened.
Right.
But now what did I do or not do
Mhm.
in this situation so that I don't go and let me learn from that so that I don't go through this again. And
That
that's
part.
the hard part.
Learn from that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's check these comments really quickly. So we got our sis Tiffany Matthias, also in the Phoenix, New York in the house.
Hey,
Ella
Tiff.
in the building. Ew.
Thank you for supporting.
We got sis Sam in here. Sam says, so proud of you, Tima.
Thank you, Sam.
Oh, I'm proud of
D
you.
and J for life.
What else we got in here? We got, I think it's Miyaka.
Miyaka, my
Miyaka.
beautiful,
Hey,
soulful
beautiful
songbird.
people. Hey.
Hey.
Our sis Tonisha said, hey, sis, I'm here.
Hey, T.
Come on for the support. And she said to
Nah,
let you know, she said she got her copy.
I know that's right.
Follow Tanisha's lead. Get yours. Get
That
your
part.
copy. She got
And make
hers.
sure y'all share this live because I do have some giveaways. So make sure y'all
Oh,
share the live. I see Tiffany been tagging people. Y'all share this live because I
there's
do
a
have some
live. Get
giveaways.
some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, I guess with all of this, we all know that the process, you went through the different stages of getting to the final project. But what would you say was the hardest thing about writing this journal?
Which part, right? Because it was all hard.
Well,
I think the hardest part was dealing with myself. That was the hardest part. Um, I learned so much in this journey and in this experience about myself. A lot of parts of it I didn't like.
mm-hmm,
And I think that's why shadow work is so critical in our maturation process and in our growth because it really makes you deal with the things that you suppress and you hide from yourself. We don't realize how much we keep hidden from ourselves. Parts of our personality that we don't like, parts of, our temperament, some of our flaws, things that and when I mean hide from ourselves, not necessarily hide them in that we deny them, but we'll hide them behind a mantra or a statement like God's still working on me, or that's just the way I am. Like you said, that's upbringing, and those are really just excuses that we put in place of pain. It's excuses and things that we put in place of vulnerability. Another important lesson that I learned in dealing with myself is I used to hate the word blame. I used to hate when people blamed me for something. And during this process, I said, let me look up what it means to blame someone. And the definition of blame is literally placing responsibility on someone for something that happened. But we put such a negative, connotation, or we put such a negative meaning behind it. But really, it is just forcing someone or causing someone to take responsibility for what they did. And I said, you know what, Natima, if you take accountability, no one has to put that responsibility on you. So I learned where do
bars.
I need to be accountable for the things that I did wrong, not even just in this relationship, all of my prior relationships, both platonic and romantic. Where are ways that I can really improve in how I'm showing up in people's lives? Do I nurture healthy relationships? Am I there for my friends the way I want them to be there for me? So this was such a full circle and such a holistic change that it was hard because no one wants to deal with themselves. Nobody. It is so easy to get out of a relationship and just do this.
Mm-hmm.
You did, he did, this was, I felt like it wasn't fit. But to hold up that mirror and say, we're going to deal with you. We're going to literally sit and deal with you. And so the hardest part was sitting in my pain to have something to write. There were days where I had nothing to write because I hadn't broken those areas yet. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like I was still waiting for those things to break off for me to be able to pick them up and say, okay, now you can give them to people. You can't give what you don't have, and you can't. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
can't take hold of what you won't accept. So
True.
sitting still long enough to accept what I had done wrong, not just again in this relationship, but in all relationships where I needed to grow. That's when I was able to say, okay, now I actually have something to say about this. And that's why I'm a big proponent of deal with you before you try to help anybody else. Heal before you help. That is my new mantra, life affirmation. Heal before you help. Because there's so many helpful people, but they're still broken. They
Yeah.
want to be helpful, but they're not whole. They're not happy. They're not healed. And that is something that I desire. So to answer your question, the short of it is the hardest part was really just looking at me because I want to tell myself, you're so great. You run a women's organization. You have a great career. You're a good mom. You're funny. You're smart. You're pretty. Yeah, but you got some ugly parts of you too. You have some
Mm-hmm.
underdeveloped parts of you too. You have some broken pieces of you too. And so the other hard thing was really just recalling all of my energy investment back to me, all the things that I had given to other people that left me empty, learning how to pull that back in, learning how to say no, learning how to set and enforce boundaries. All of that was so hard, but so helpful. And I talk about that all up in here. So I hope that answered your question.
It
Y'all know I'm
did, and that's no, that's amazing because I agree. Like we were just saying about the blame thing, and I remember growing up, and it never used to make sense to me. But they used to be like, "Be careful when you point the finger at somebody because there's three fingers pointing back at you."
that part. That
And
part.
so it's like we always focus on that one finger pointing out, but there's three fingers pointing back at you. So it's like, what are those three things that you needed to fix and check
Right.
yourself about?
Right.
So, let's jump back over here. These comments, they in here for you today, sis.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much.
Miyaka says, "Come on, accountability.
Yes. Thank you, Mika. Thank you. Accountability,
It is
life
huge.
changer.
It is huge."
That's the life changer.
Our sis Aduni is here. She said, "Powerful realization."
Hey,
Yes,
sis.
yes. Who else we got in here? Elsie Seymour says, "I love you, fam. Y'all ladies are rock stars, Black Girl Magic. We
Hey,
appreciate
beautiful.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you." Jessica's in here. What's Jessica? Hashtag heal before you help.
That
Okay.
part, Jay. That's it.
That's the mantra. Check yourself.
Right. Right.
Kevin's in the building says, Congrats from your baby Amaya."
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Amaya. Love
Mel
you.
Pooh.
Go get to bed.
Look,
It's
Mel
almost
Pooh.
bedtime.
Hey, Camille. Camille says, "Just jumping on. Glad I didn't miss it. You guys have the best platform for sisterhood."
Hello, beautiful.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Coco. Thank
Thank
y'all
you.
so much.
So let's see. So we have a question. Tiffany says, "Tima, would you say the journal could be used not just in a romantic healing journey, but also in personal, professional, and family relationships as well?"
Definitely. Absolutely. And I so appreciate that question, Tiff, because I was going to mention that a little bit later. Um, as I began to compile, the final manuscript and I was reading over it, and I said that to myself, I said, wow, this can actually help anyone struggling with a relationship ending or a broken relationship, or a relationship that lacks respect and loyalty and commitment from both parties. Really, any type of relatability. This book can really help. This journal can really help. Because it is a mirror. It holds this mirror up to yourself, whether you're ready to deal with it or not. And so that's another thing I'll say. If you're not really ready to deal with you, you probably don't want this, because this entire journal deals with you. There is no room to escape you in this journal. I constantly go back to you, you. Even my stories, I'm gonna talk about you too. And so, absolutely, Tiffany, this can certainly be applied to any loss. Really, a lot of the healing that I was doing, I thought was just about this relationship, but it was about past relationships. But it was also about losing my sister. Really still working through the loss, the unexpected death of my sister. The sudden, like I was mad at God for so long, like so long. And I remember one day I was journaling, working on this journal, and I was, just jotting out some thoughts of things that I wanted to write. And God said, I'll never forget this. He was like, I heard clear as day. And for people who don't believe that God speaks to us like that, it's fine. But for me, I believe, that I can hear from God in terms of relationship and conversation. And so, God was pretty much saying how I oftentimes say some mean things to him. And I'm like, you're God, you can handle anything, what you
Right.
mean? And I was like, well, what do I say? So I began to write out things that I've said in anger toward God. And so can you imagine if I can say those things to such a supreme being, the mighty universe like that, what I would say to people? I was like, dang, if I could be this harsh to something that I admire and revere so greatly and so strongly as God, as the creator of, of life, the creator of all things, if I can talk to him that way, how am I talking to my children? How am I talking to my friends? And it made me really spend time dealing with myself and cleaning out my heart, because a lot of what comes out of our mouths is what's in our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Scripture says, you know what I'm saying? So what's in a man's heart, saith he. That's where that's coming from. So that hatred, that anger, that bitterness, that's what's in your heart. And so a lot of the chapters I write in here deal with your heart condition. And what are some exercises to purify your heart so you don't have to work on your mouth? People are like, oh, I just gotta get my mouth under control. Get your heart under control.
Mm-hmm.
Because the overflow of the heart is what makes the mouth speak. So if you clean that out, Your words are going to line up with what's in your heart and eventually what's in your mind. And so that was huge for me. Like, dang, like God, I'm really disrespectful. Like my mouth is out of control.
It's that,
So,
it's that New York in you. You can't help it.
girl, so I was like, I'm gonna get this together because if I'm comfortable talking to you that way, what am I saying to other people that I claim to love and respect? So that was another big part for me is working on that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say that men could use this journal too?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I will be honest, it is written for women from the perspective of women, but here's where I think men are going to benefit. I think men will find it helpful to know there are women out there that really have the desire to deal with themselves and not just blame the man, right? I was talking to a male friend of mine and he asked me, "Hey, what's your book about?" I'm curious. And so I was telling him about the book and he was like, "Wow, I've never met a woman who took accountability for what she did wrong in a relationship's ending. It's always women blaming the man." And I was like, no, I took full responsibility and accountability for what I contributed to the relationship's ending. I didn't misplace accountability, not at all. I took what was mine and left the
Right.
rest. And if he decides to deal with him, then that's on him. But I was worried about me. And so he really appreciated that. He's like, wow, there are women like that out here. I'm like, yeah, we out here. So I think that's where men can really benefit to see the other side of the table, that not all women think men are dogs and liars and cheaters and hoes. And some of us really do say, man, I may have messed that up, or maybe that was me that, showed up in that way. So
That's
yeah,
dope.
I think it's a benefit.
No, that's true. I mean, we don't. We tend to. I tend to tell people all the time, like if you've had several relationships that have all ended for whatever reason, at some point you have to look at the common denominator.
Right.
And again, and like you said, not to say that there's not blame on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to look at yourself, whether it be what is it that you haven't learned about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what is it you haven't learned that caused you to keep attracting these people, or that
Mm-hmm.
allows you to keep letting these people do certain things to you, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
but we tend to miss that. Like you
Mm-hmm.
play a part in it. Like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's simply whether your part is just I stayed longer than I should have,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I accepted things I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that was if that was your part in it, that's
Mm-hmm.
your part you played. And so you
Right.
have to now address that and acknowledge, okay, well, what is it about me that
Mm-hmm.
makes me stay
Mm-hmm.
and accept these things or whatever the case may be. And we don't tend to do that. Like you said, it's
Mm-hmm.
always, well, he did and he did and he did and he did. I'm like, yeah, and you stayed for 5 years.
Right. And even before it gets to that, because even in that, to me, it feels like we're giving ourselves a bit more of a pass. Like, well, it's still like taking accountability, but it's more so gentle accountability. It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have stayed that long. But it's also, how was your mouth? How did you talk to him? Did you respect him? Did you treat him like a man, or did you emasculate him? Were you always presentable? Were you somebody positive to come home to, or did you have an attitude every day? Was the home clean? Like, we forget that men need those things too. You know what I mean? Sometimes we are so focused on what we need from a relationship and what we want from a man that we're ignoring everything else. Like, what are his needs? How are you meeting his needs? What are some nice things you're doing for him? Are you learning to shut up and just let him decompress and watch the game or whatever? Or are you nagging him? Like, there are so many things that women do unconsciously because it's been accepted for so long. We keep
Mm-hmm.
repeating the same stupid generational patterns. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I got to keep it real. They're stupid, where it's, oh, happy wife, happy life. That's dumb. That's
No,
stupid.
happy spouse, happy house, and there's two of them.
Everybody needs to be happy. Everybody deserves to have a safe space. You need to be just as committed to, your mate, the things that make your mate happy as you want him to be on for yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those are things that I had to learn the hard way. I didn't realize that there were things I was doing subconsciously and unconsciously that were destroying my relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I put work before the relationship. He would ask me simple things like, hey, can you log off at a decent time? And I would go into this whole mantra, this is my career and I have to team up, log off and shut up. Like, no one needed you to give this whole speech. But again, we don't want to deal with those parts of us. I had to deal with those parts of me. I was like, no, There were opportunities you could have just shut up and you didn't. You kept running your mouth. There were opportunities you could have been more thoughtful. And again, not just in this relationship. I looked at my marriage. I looked at the relationship with my youngest daughter's father. I examined all of those relationships to say, wow, yeah, you were an awesome woman in a lot of ways, but there were some areas that you was real jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've been working to heal.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I think sometimes also, and this is for romantic friendships, whatever. Um, I think oftentimes people people will tell us stuff about ourselves, and just because it may not have been delivered in the right way, or you and
Mm-hmm.
your feelings, so you didn't hear it, you missed the message.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those things are there to help you be better. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I had to learn to not be so defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to defend, like you said, it's like, but no, but I did because, but no, but it wasn't because. And it was like, you don't have to defend everything. Like, if it gets said that this is what it is, okay, be like, you know what? My bad.
Right.
Heard you. I can, but that came from years of not feeling like I was heard.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, no, you gonna hear. You gotta hear
Mm-hmm.
what I gotta say. I gotta get my
Mm-hmm.
point across. You can understand it.
Right.
Um, and then I think also that whole love language thing. I need y'all to get with that, because we often tend to love people how we want to love them,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not necessarily how they need to be loved.
Right.
So if you know what I mean, I can't be like, well, I cook dinner every day and I bought you this and I bought you that. And he's like, that's great, but can we just sit down and watch a movie?
That's it. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like you can't love somebody how you want to love them. You have to find out what is it that they need from you to feel loved. Because
Mm-hmm.
just because you love somebody, and this is husband, wife, kid, best friend, mama, daddy, just because you love someone does not mean that they feel loved by you.
Mm-hmm. That part.
And
Yep.
so I agree with, like, this journal sounds like, yeah, it's gonna help get some people together, because we gotta look at us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you go into your next relationship, or you get your next friendship or whatever it is, you're going into that. This person isn't coming with you. So if you only focus on what they did wrong, then you're bringing your same person and your same everything into this next situation,
Mm-hmm.
and probably will find yourself in a similar
Mm-hmm.
scenario, because you haven't figured out, okay, what is it that I'm not doing right?
But that's that baggage we always talk about, right? We
Mhm.
always saying bag lady, but that's exactly the baggage we're talking about. And I remember hearing this pastor, she did an analogy that was so amazing about, y'all know the box of chocolates we usually get for Valentine's Day,
Mhm.
and they're like assorted. And so you go through them biting a piece, and if you don't like it, you put it back. That's what dating without healing in between does. So by the
Mhm.
time the person who deserves your box of chocolates get to you, you got bites of you from like everybody you that's ever touched you, bit a piece of
Mhm.
you, put you back broken, but you never heal. So you are just, you know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
still look good, you're still appealing and appetizing, but you broken. There's
Mhm.
pieces of you
Pieces
with
of you.
everybody that you've ever been with. And so
Mhm.
this is why you have, like, I cannot stress enough why we have to heal. And that looks different for everybody. You know what I mean? For me, healing was restoring, confidence. It was understanding who I am at the core, not who I am by title, by position, because of my degree, because of who I'm associated with, or how much money I make. Who are you if all of that was stripped away? And do you still feel valuable? That's what healing did for me. It let me look at Natima Sheree with nothing else, just completely naked. No mommy, no, HR executive, no car, no house, no, you wasn't in the movie Fresh, no, like none of that stuff mattered. But are you still valuable if you're just you? And that
Mhm.
is hard. That's a lot of work many of us are not ready to do, because you have to take all of that away and then look at you. Like, who are you underneath all of that? And that's what this journey did for me. It made me pull back the layers. It made me pull back the pain. It made me figure out why I was hurting and where. I spent a lot of time on that in one of the chapters. Where are you hurting and why? Why is it hurting you and where did it come from? Some of it is self-imposed. Some of it is from relationships, upbringing, experiences, trauma, all of those different things. But if you don't deal with it and you're not honest with yourself, like sometimes we'll say, "Oh, that didn't bother me." Girl, that bothered you bad. And it's okay to say, "Yo, that shit hurt. Don't do that again. I didn't like that. That didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
good. It's unfair." But instead, we throw up this why I don't do girls. This why I don't have no female friends. No, sis, you hurt. That girl hurt you. You trusted her and she betrayed you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to say that that hurt. Instead of saying, I just ain't gonna fool with girls no more. No.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody need a good girlfriend. I don't know where I'd be without my diamond sisters. That's real talk. I don't know where I'd be without Tanisha and Mika and Javon, Mel and Jessica. Girl, I need my homegirls. S.A.V.A.G.E. I'm serious. And so
Oh,
when we
I'm
get
with you.
hurt, instead of being vulnerable, we put up these walls, and then
Mm-hmm.
we put up, we put rabbit pit bulls in front of them, and then we put up barbed wire in front of that. And
Right.
mad because we meet a man who cannot get through all of that.
Right.
He
He
I
like,
can't.
you gotta move some of this, and you be like, no, no. If you love me enough, you'll come over.
Fight
Like,
for it,
what good is he gonna do if he dead when he get to you?
girl. And he's exhausted when he gets to you, and he's overwhelmed when he gets to you, and then you mad at him because you feel like he ain't doing enough to prove his love to you. Love don't have to be proven; it just has to be sincerely shared. That's the thing. Like again, I learned in this journey, I ain't asking nobody to prove they love to me. Just love me. You ain't gotta prove it because it's going to show in the way you speak to me, in the way you care for me, in the way you consider me. This whole prove your love crap, again, that's the stuff we see on social media.
Mhm.
That's the stuff we see in other relationships, and then we pull that into our relationship and we mad and disappointed, even in our friendships. None of
Mhm.
my girls support anything I'm doing. Well, how much are you supporting? And
Right.
do they know you want their support? So again,
That
I
part.
go back to heal. We gotta heal. We have to heal. And
We
so
gotta
thank
heal.
you.
We gotta gain some understanding because even like you were saying, like what some of us have a very misconstrued idea of what love is supposed to look like.
Right.
And so you're like, well, you don't love me. And like you're saying, like they don't gotta prove it. It's what are they doing for you? And if your only thought process of love is, well, he don't bring me flowers every Wednesday and he don't do this, but it's like, but he takes your car and gets the car cleaned every Saturday morning. He gets up and makes sure that it's like all these other things that it's like you're not paying attention to. And again, that's that having to understand, having to communicate
Mm-hmm.
what you need to feel loved,
Mm-hmm.
and then also understanding how the other person shows love,
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody connects love to the same things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Some people feel like, well, I come home and I turn my phone off and I sit with you and I spend this time and devote it with you. To them, that's showing you love. Somebody else says, well, I'm gonna bring you flowers and candies every 3 days. That's
Mm-hmm.
them. You gotta know how to articulate what love looks like for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then also understand what love looks like for the other person and
Mm-hmm.
how they show that, because
Mm-hmm.
we get so caught up like in what TV says love look like, and well, if you don't do this for me and if you're not buying me this and you're not, I'm like, listen, is the mortgage paid
Mm-hmm.
all the time?
Right.
Do the cars got gas?
Right.
Like, what do you really care about my well-being? Are you
Mm-hmm.
checking on my mental health, on my
Right.
spiritual health?
Right.
Are you praying with me and for me? Like, that to me are examples of like love, and we sometimes miss those because they're not always tangible.
Mm-hmm. And we discredit them.
Yeah.
Or we miss, like you said, we miss them because we have blinders on from the last relationship. When you don't deal with stuff, it, you know what I'm saying, it jades your perspective. So now you're looking at everybody you meet after that heartbreak through the lens of your brokenness. And so even if the person means well and they're showing you that they're there, they're faithful, they're loyal, you are going to create scenarios in your head until they manifest. You are going to convince yourself that these things are happening, that he feels this way, that your friends are feeling this way, because that is what's in your mind. That's what you keep telling yourself. That's the narrative that you've adopted. I remember watching an episode of Everybody Hates Chris. I used to love that show when it was on TV. Me and my oldest used to watch it all the time. And I remember that episode, Chris said his dad never said, I love you. He said, I'll see you in the morning. But that was his way of saying, I love you because I'll be here in the morning. And again, most people would have missed that. My dad never said, I loved you. My dad never said, I loved you. Yeah, but him saying, I'm going to see you in the morning, man, I'm going to stay present in your life. I'm going to be here for you. You ain't never going to have to grow up without your father. So, again, like you said, we have to learn to look at each other and say, wow, this is where this person shows up for me. I have a homegirl. She just texts me every few days. Shout out to my girl Medina, just checking on you. Yellow heart. That's it. She don't say nothing else the rest of the day or the week. But I get that text, I'm checking on you. That is so loaded. It is so much more than I'm just checking on you. It's I'm thinking of you. I care about you. I want you to know you're in my thoughts and on my mind. I'm concerned about you. I hope you're okay. Know that I love you because I took the time to text you. But again, if you're selfish and you're broken and you're not healed, somebody would just see that as none of my friends ever care about me. No, that girl texts you every week, checking on you. And I'm like, I swear to God, I can show y'all my phone. She don't say nothing else. On you, yellow heart. See you next week with the same text. And it means so much to me because I've learned to read between the lines. I've learned to understand how she communicates. That's enough for her. Me knowing that she's checking on me and thinking of me, that's enough to solidify our friendship. And so we cannot miss those opportunities. But again, if you don't heal, you will stay stuck and you're going to miss a lot of great connections and opportunities to have dope people in your life. So that's what I would take from this book.
Let's see what's happening over here in these comments. Tiffany said, it's also not our partner's responsibility to heal us and make us whole.
Come on, somebody. Church.
Be whole when you get there. Don't nobody walk in and be like, let me get a half. It's like, no, I want the whole one. Amanda's showing us some love.
Oh my God, that is my favorite coworker in the whole world. Hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for supporting. That is awesome. My girl.
Everybody's showing some love. Jessica says, yes, sis, we need each other.
Yes.
That's diamonds for life. Tanisha said, period, we got you, sis.
Love you, sis. Thank you.
I'm going to give it to Tiffany. Tell Tiffany, get out my cup.
Tiffany,
I am not drinking your White Russian. It's actually it's eggnog with Irish cream.
It's supposed to be coquito. Ew, eggnog. Boo. You are Dominican. You were supposed to drink coquito, not no eggnog.
Okay, I didn't make it. I didn't make some coquito. So anyway, I had eggnog and I put Irish cream in it. Okay, so we coquito that. Okay, look, coming from my Dominican. I make coquito every year. I just didn't make it.
Yeah, I know that's right.
What else we got going on here? Tiffany said, even when I can't afford financially my people, I share their posts, I recommend them and their products or services. Absolutely. All right. I can't stand them. Your people, they said, you said eggnog, boo. Yes, I improvised. Thank you, Tanisha. All right. Before we get into a last few couple of questions, let's hear a little bit of this journal.
I would love to share from this journal.
We want to hear a little bit. We want to feel inspired. We want to feel savage.
So I have I've identified two excerpts in particular that I want to share. One is from the chapter Adjustment, and that is healing milestone number 4. Number 4. And pretty much it says, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, whether it's hurt, anger, disappointment, or fear. Allow yourself to feel it. Me, I was consumed by fear following my breakup. I was tormented by the fear of being alone for the rest of my life. I feared that I had run out of opportunities for love and genuine connection. I feared that I was just getting too old to start over and would never find a high value man this late in the game. Now, is this my reality? No. But my feelings were, they were real. And I gave myself the room to experience them freely. Don't force yourself to be okay. Don't force yourself to feel better. Do not rush your healing process. Don't rob yourself of the opportunity to heal everything that was broken in the breakup. Give yourself the grace and the space to take your time and mend. I want to stress yet again that this is the most critical milestone in this journey. Repairing your heart and restoring a healthy mindset, it will take time. Give yourself the time, allow yourself to feel. The reason I wanted to stress that is because we live in a world of social comparison where no one on social media is in a bad mood. No one's broken. No one's sad. We experienced it today with the young man, Twitch, death by suicide. The smiling depression, we have no clue what people are going through because we only talk about the good. We don't allow ourselves to feel hurt or to feel disappointment. We convince ourselves that, oh, I'm good, I'll just brush that off. And again, it's unfortunate that Black women are constantly told how strong they are. And so now we try to live up to that in every area of our lives. We no longer say, I'm tired. We no longer say, I'm dealing with chronic stress or depression and anxiety. No, we just literally push through it. And it's become to a point where we tell each other that. Oh, girl, you got this. Like, no, I just told you I don't. I just told you that I'm not okay. And so, me allowing myself to feel what I was feeling, to not hide from my fear, to not hide from that pain, it allowed me to come on the other side of it. Because when you don't deal with it, it doesn't just go away.
Right.
Trauma and pain do not just disappear. You might subdue it, you might suppress it, but it's still there and it comes up as triggers. It shows up, by being defensive and offended by everything. That's where it shows up. So people be like, no, I'm good, I'm fine. No, you're not. Because the smallest thing sets you off. The smallest thing hurts you. The smallest thing makes you angry. And so that's why we have to allow ourselves to feel. The other excerpt I want to share, and the reason I want to share this one is one of my beta readers said this is her favorite part in the book, and I just appreciate her so much for taking the time to read this. And so it's from the very end of the book. Let me make sure it's from the end of the book. Yes, it's from the very last chapter, which is called hashtag growth happening. For those of you who are connected to me on social media, you already know what that means. But it says, don't lose your faith in love. The force of love is one of the most significant influences on the human experience. It's an incredible and beautiful emotion and affection, like anything in life. But like anything in life, there are opportunities for people to misuse and mishandle it. But this should not distort our perception of love. Consider the love you give. Is it tainted? Is it selfish? Is it manipulative? Or is it pure and genuine and authentic? You must trust that you can and will attract the same level of love that you give once you're healed. We must be more selective and responsible with those we share our love with and take accountability when we place it in the wrong hands. But don't you dare give up on love. You have to know how worthy and deserving you are of real, authentic, and pure, unlimited love. And I wrote that because I didn't believe I was worthy of love. For so long, I felt like, man, every relationship is ending the same. I'm either being cheated on or left for another woman. Maybe I'm just the girl who's supposed to help these men be better, and then they move on to be better for someone else.
Girl.
So I had to teach myself and I had to practice real self love, not spa days and shopping sprees, but genuine self love that says, Tima, you are a great person. You got some things that you're working through, but you really are worthy of love. God said so. You know what I'm saying? And so I really wanted to stress that in that part of the chapter, that authentic love is something we all deserve, but you can't receive it until you learn how to give it to yourself. You got to make room for it in your life. And so, whatever the scenario of love in your head, abandon that. Love is not gifting each other Lamborghini trucks and Birkin bags. That's
Mm-mm.
not love. Love is not posting, this my bae. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not love either.
Yeah.
Love is I forgive you for that moment we just had. I'm too angry to talk right now because I don't want to say anything hurtful, so I'm gonna walk away. That's the type of love that I'm looking for in my next relationship, but it's the kind of love I give myself. Tima, you need a break today. No more work, log off work, go do something enjoyable. That's me loving myself. And so I really wanted to stress that in the book as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
those
That's
are my points.
awesome. No, that's dope. And I mean, even loving yourself, even tied to what you were talking about in the first excerpt that you read, like we have to become okay with when people say, we've got so conditioned. People like, hey, how are you? Or like, hey, and then how you feeling? And we'd be like, okay, I'm good, I'm fine, knowing doggone well you're not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's like, no, you're not.
Right.
You're not okay.
Right.
And like,
Not.
why do we have such difficulty with saying I'm not okay?
Yeah.
I'm not okay today.
Yeah.
I had a tendency, and I mean, my friends here, my musicians stuff, you'd be like, oh my god, I wish you stopped saying that, because they'll be like, hey, what's up? Like, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm here. And that was my answer. Like, because I was like, I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm good, I'm fine, because I'm not. So my answer was, I'm here.
Yeah.
And they used to be like, oh my God, I can't wait for the day that that's not your answer. Like, I crave for you to be more than I'm here. But
Mm-hmm.
that was where I was at. Like, I'm not great. I'm not terrible, but I'm not great. Like, I'm here. Like, that was my
Right.
answer. It was like, okay, can we move past? I'm here. But we just have such a difficulty with saying, no, I'm not good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good today. I'm not having a good day today.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're not having a good day and somebody reaches out and be like, you know what? I love you, but I can't today.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Exactly. Right.
um and like that goes into with loving yourself. Like loving yourself is being honest, and it's being honest with what you
Mm-hmm.
want. If you hurt, say you hurt. If you mad, say you mad. If you sad,
Mm-hmm.
say you sad. You know, that's it. Like don't just that whole I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm
Mm-hmm.
straight.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you were saying earlier, and then you get upset and be like, well, nobody checks on me. Well, you keep telling everybody you're okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
You keep telling everybody you're okay. And then you have those people that know that it's BS,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not gonna like take that extra step and be like, no, you're not. And we
Right.
need to also do that as friends. And like when your friend gives you that BS, I'm okay,
Mm-hmm.
be like, no, you're not. So
Mm-hmm.
what's up? Or like, you know what? I really know that you're not okay, but I'm gonna let you have that today. But
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow we're
We
gonna
gonna
get to
talk.
it. Right.
Exactly. Right.
And yeah, so but that even that in itself takes a level of healing in yourself to be able to know
That
that
part.
was some BS. Because some of us ask how are you, not because we really want, like it's like the blurb in the mouth. Hey, how you doing? How are you today? You good? We don't really wait to hear the answer to the how are you.
At all.
Like we don't really care. We don't really want the answer.
Mm-mm.
Let me get this, standardized salutation out the way. Hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Okay. And the person's like, but I'm by the time they get to say I'm okay, you walked
But
off already.
some of us are so overwhelmed with our own stuff, we really don't even have the capacity for your, what I'm saying, for your honest answer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are so burdened with so much. We're trying to show up for you, like, hey, how are you? But we can't really handle how you are, especially if it's not good, because we can't handle anything else on us. So again, this is why positioning ourselves to be in a healthy space, not a perfect space. That's one thing I talk about in the book. Do not seek perfection. Seek authenticity and wholeness, and happiness. Like perfection is a setup, and it's something that I learned during this journey how destructive perfection was. Me trying to be a perfectionist, it was destroying me from the inside out. So yeah, let go of that. I got to do everything right. I got to always show up. I always have to say yes. I have to be the best at this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Allow yourself to be human. And that was a permission slip I gave myself during this journey. Like, team up, be human. And it is okay. It is okay to be regular. Again, we put this negative connotation on, oh, she basic. It's okay. Leave me as basic, because when you're trying to do too much and do the most, you are self-destructing on the inside. So you look great on the outside, sis, but your insides are falling apart. So it's okay to be human, to be regular, to be basic, whatever those words are, because in finding who you really are, that's where the extraordinary is birthed, not in emulating what everybody else expects of you or what you see being done by everybody else. It's really finding you, attuning with self, being in tune with who you are. That is where the extraordinary shows up. So the person I am now, she's not even the same woman from 6 months ago. And I like her so much more. I actually like being around her. I love being in my own space because of how authentic I am. Whereas that perfectionist I was 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I really can't stand her. Like looking back, I'm like, ugh, I cringe. Like, oh, you was really like this? Like you really live like this for real? Girl, bye.
Like in real life?
I'm telling you, healing saved my life. Like dealing with me saved my life. And it just so happens that a breakup was what prompted it. But yeah.
Well, come on, thank you, breakup.
Right?
Like thank you,
Appreciate
not thank you, but thank you. Like
it. Appreciate it.
so, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently, like in this process?
That's a good question. Is there anything I wish I did differently? Um, no, I really don't. I think everything that I did was supposed to happen the way it did. I think that I needed the alone time to deal with me. I think that I needed those feelings of emptiness and brokenness.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes, in order to build something great, the structure has to be completely torn down. And I think that's what this Savage Healing Journal journey was for me. It was the structure that I had built all of these, faux expectations and faux personas and fake personality and all of these, you know what I'm saying? All of these things. I was building a house of cards. It was going to fall eventually because it wasn't real. None of it was me. None of it was who I am. Um, and so I feel like as God began to rebuild, before he could rebuild, he had to completely tear it down. The structure had to come down back to the foundation of who I am. And that hurt. That part hurt like hell. Um, but it was necessary. And so I wouldn't change a thing. Like, of course, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, during when I was bawling, crying every day and couldn't explain why, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I, could barely hold my head up and all of that. Yeah, maybe then if you asked me what would I do differently, I'm like, man, I wouldn't have done none of this. But now, being able to move from growth happening to growth happened, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I am just so happy. Um,
Look, girl, we done made it this far. Don't start. I don't even got no tissues by me. Cut it out.
it's I can't explain because so many of us go to the grave so full because we're not living who we really are. And it's so unfair to us. And so this journey taught me to be fair with myself, to be fair to me. And it is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And like I said, it's amazing how it came from heartbreak. It came from pain, but all of this that birthed out of me, all of this that I am and am becoming, I wouldn't change any of it. And it was hard. Some days I was so angry with God in here. I was yelling at my daughters. I was blaming the relationship. I was blaming. But when I tell you, this is the greatest experience because I know now this is who I was supposed to be for the last 40 years. And I'd be damned if I spent another moment being that other version of me. This is who I was supposed to be. And it took this pain to birth her. Anything that you birth, there's labor, pains. There's those contractions hurt like hell. The pushing hurts. But when you get to hold what you've worked on for the last 10 months, it is the greatest thing. And I always say I've been in this pregnancy for 8 months. My breakup was 8 months ago. And so I've been in gestation for 8 months. And I believe what God is about to birth through me is going to help women to heal and love themselves and put themselves first and forgive themselves. And that to me was worth every single tear, every sleepless night, every journal entry, every phone call with my sisters, every prayer with my sisters. It was so worth it because it brought me to this moment right now where I feel like I saved myself. I didn't need no man to save me, no job, no career, no opportunity, no money. It was me. I rescued me. I said, this is enough. I am tired of you living like this. We're done. I was like, this is the last time you show up like this. And so, being in the space I am, I walk different. I talk different. I feel different. I interact different. My coworker who's on here, Amanda, shout out to her. We had lunch yesterday, and she just kept complimenting me and saying, compliments about my glow and my smile and my genuine personality. And that wouldn't have happened 6 months ago. That wouldn't have happened 8 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And so being able to see me like kind of come out of this cocoon, come out of this shell, it is like a new birth. It really is a new birth. So give that to yourselves. Even if the Savage Healing Journey don't get you there, I believe it's a start. I believe my stories will help you to recognize things in yourself like, ooh, I got to change that too. That's in my way. That's hindering me. That's holding me back. That's causing me to be broken. So, yeah. Sorry for my moment, y'all. I had to have that moment.
No, I'm gonna let them pour on you in the comments. So what we got over here? Don't make me cry. Please stop. I'm
I'm
so happy that
sorry.
you are happy. That's right. We are all so happy that you are happy.
Love you, sis.
Talia says your healing looks beautiful on you, Tima.
Thank you, Cuzzo. Thank you so much. Y'all
Different
see
type
my
of.
edges ungrew? Girl,
That's a
listen.
different type of glow.
Okay.
Jessica says you're beautifully healed.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank
Come
you.
on. Talia says healing requires that you give yourself grace. Trust the process.
Trust the process. Protect your process. You have to. And
Tons of
protect your
hearts,
process.
sis. Tons of hearts. They love it. They pouring love on you in the comments.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So we gotta end with our final question, and
Mhm.
then you can say your final remarks. So my last question is, what do you hope this journal will do for others?
Mm. Um, wow. I hope it will be a mirror. I hope that it would help women in particular, because y'all know that's my heart to help us. I hope that it will help you to see yourself, to no longer make excuses for behavior that is toxic. It is not cute to be toxic. It is not cute to be broken. It's not healthy. A lot of our physical illness and ailments and things. It really is from a dirty mentality and a broken heart. And so when you begin to clean those things up and you begin to renew your mind and you begin to soften your heart, like so many of us have such hard hearts. And I'm not saying it's not rightfully so. A lot of us have been through more in our short lives than others have been through, twice our age. So I'm not saying that you're not justified in being hurt, but don't stay there. And I hope that's what this journal does. I hope it shows you a healing pathway where you do not have to stay stuck. You do not have to stay broken. You do not have to stay angry. You don't have to stay isolated. You can really come out and connect with yourself first and then with others. Um, I also hope this journal provides a space for you to unload, to release, to get some things off of you. My favorite part about journaling is talking to me about me. And that's something that I do daily. I journal all the time, and I'm constantly talking to me about myself. And so I hope that this journal definitely teaches you to release things that are hurting, release things that are frustrating, anxiety, depression, all those things. Put it on paper. Like I always say, pour on the pages, not on people. Dump on the pages, don't dump on people. And I hope that my story helps you. I hope that my story shows you that you're not alone, that we all mess up, because this book is full of accountability where I look at me where I'm like, damn, I wasn't a great girlfriend. I didn't always get it right. I wasn't a great friend. But I'm trying and I'm healing. So definitely get this journal. Take advantage of the activities. There's a lot of work in it for you too. It's not just reading. It's a lot to read, but there's also a lot to do. So yeah, that's what I hope that they can take from this.
Awesome. Well, y'all heard it here. Direct from the author's mouth herself. So, any final words, comments, thoughts, anything you want to share with everyone before we bid them a good night?
First of all, I just want to thank everybody who's on the live. I so appreciate it. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for supporting me through this entire journey. This has not been easy. Some days have been hard, and some days were hard as hell. But but many of you were there pouring out your love and your support for me from the very beginning, and I just so appreciate it. Some special thank you. I want to thank Javon A. Frazier, your guiding light of the Hidden Jewel Wellness Boutique. Not only did she write my foreword, but she was one of my beta readers and provided me with excellent feedback. I want to thank Danielle Lawson, who was also one of my beta readers. She is a diamond of mine. I want to thank my sisters Mika and Tanisha. I'm not going to cry again, but you ladies, y'all labored with me. Y'all loved on me. Y'all spoke life into me. Y'all checked me when I needed to just let stuff go. And I really appreciate you. My friend Medina, I've already shouted you out. Thank you. I want to thank my parents. Of course, my dad is my A1, my biggest supporter. That man will stop the world for me, and I could not be this woman and this version of me without my father's love, because he constantly raises the standard and the bar for how I should be treated, not just from others, but how I should be treating myself. So thank you to my dad and my mom. Mel, thank you so much. I am not going to cry again, but thank
Please
you for,
don't. I don't got no tissues.
you are such an amazing spirit. To exchange energy with you is just is such a rewarding thing. Like, you pour from such a genuine place. And I remember the day after the breakup, you changed your flight to come be by my side, so I was not alone. And you held me together that entire week. We had our book release, and you did not let me be by myself. You did not let me hurt alone. You did not let me regress. You kept pushing me forward, and you held me up when I couldn't hold myself up. And I literally thank God for you every single day. Like, every day I thank God for bringing us together. So thank you for hosting this for me, and bringing this part of me out, because I wasn't even going to do anything. And you were like, wait, what? We're not doing a virtual release? And I was like, no, I'm going to just, put the book out. So thank you for pushing me to do this and to celebrate myself and my growth in this way. If I forgot anyone, please charge my head and not my heart. But I am so grateful for all of you. Jessica, my cousin Tiffany, one of my biggest role models and besties. I love you so much. We go way back. We've been cousins our whole life, and I love you still. My cousin Talia, thank you for being on. And to all of those who have purchased, I have over 100 purchases of this journal since yesterday, and I am sincerely grateful for the support. Thank you for everyone who shared the post and the reels and the promotions, those who have told others about it. I am so sincerely grateful for you. And for those who are rooting for me to continue to heal and to continue to love myself and be myself, thank you. I truly thank God for all of y'all. And that's it. I just want to say, continue to heal and chase happiness and wholeness more than anything else in life. That's it.
Well, that's a word. So, I mean, I want to thank you for, allowing me this opportunity to be here to share this moment with you. I already told you, you my sister in this life, the past life, the next life, and the afterlife.
That's
So
it.
that's all that is. I want to thank everyone that logged in today, of course, in support of my sis, in support of me as a host. For all you guys just poured a whole bunch of love for me in these chats, thanks to Tima's little thing. So I thank all of you. Seriously, like, And on behalf of all the Diamond Riders, we thank y'all for all of your continued support.
Yeah.
You know, we've come such a far way, and we couldn't have done it without all of you guys' love and support. So
That's right.
thank you for helping us help Tima make her dream and her vision come to life. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Um, and this has been another amazing episode of the Hustle and Shine podcast.
And
Make
as
sure y'all
always,
tune in next Wednesday. Who'll be
mm-hmm.
back next Wednesday? Somebody will be here next Wednesday.
Somebody will be here.
Somebody will be here next Wednesday.
Right.
But make sure y'all tune in. And if we don't talk to you guys or see you before then, make sure you guys have a happy and safe holiday season in
Yes.
these last couple of weeks of 2022 and make it count. And in the words of our Queen Pen, as she always says, continue to
Continue to hustle
and
and
shine.
shine.
Y'all
Good
be
night.
blessed. Good night, y'all.